Hi, I'm Marissa Kozlov. Welcome back for another eMarketer Industry Voices, where we bring you perspectives on how marketers are working through challenges and what they envision for the future of D2C marketing. Joining me today is Jeyanayagam, Vice President and General Manager of Direct to Consumer at the Clorox Company. Jackson, great to have you here.
Thank you, Marissa. I appreciate you having me.
Jackson, before joining Clorox, you were the CMO of the company Boxed, a D2C bulk retailer. How has your grocery retail experience shaped the way that you market your brands now?
It's very similar, right? At the end of the day, you're selling things to people that just need it when they need it, right? When you run out of toilet paper at box, when you run out of Clorox wipes, you just need it. You don't want to think about it. You want to buy it, you want to have it shipped to your door, and you're done. As you know, Box was a full pure play D2C e-commerce experience, right? So there was no brick and mortar, no place to go buy a boxed product or experience. Clorox is the exact opposite. We had a very, very small D2C presence. So the changes and understanding the changes of how we operate at Clorox, I probably underestimated. And that's kind of why I came here. It was a great opportunity for me to learn and build something from scratch, essentially.
Over the past few years, we have seen a significant shift to consumers buying groceries online. Clorox is a 110-year-old legacy brand. How has the company responded to consumers' evolving digital behaviors?
We really had to fight hard to ensure that we were able to meet demand as much as we could. But now, as we think about, a year and a half later, to your point, e-commerce has picked up probably 5 years steam, right? Where we thought we'd be in 2025 is where we are now in terms of consumer adoption and acceptance of e-commerce, from groceries to fresh and produce to CPG products.
What demographic do you find is most interested in buying Clorox products online?
Coming out of COVID, everyone is a online shopper. Boomers are the ones that were the fastest growing right now, and they were the ones, the hardest ones to get over the edge, right? To really get them to buy, especially outside of the coast, to buy online. And now we're seeing that. I mean, they are booming, literally and figuratively, in terms of their growth rate for e-commerce and acceptance of groceries and CPG and anything online.
Yeah, really interesting to hear about those boomers, especially as so many marketers now are focused on Gen Z and millennials. Well, you lead the D2C practice at Clorox. So, what role does D2C play in Clorox's overall retail strategy?
The real strategy is for us to personalize the whole journey, right? From the consumer, from the unknowns to the knowns to the loyal fans. It doesn't matter where they shop. D2C offers us a chance to really get smarter about our consumer, where they're shopping, how they're shopping, and then letting them and hopefully pointing them to convert where it makes the most sense. That could be in a Walmart, that could be on Amazon, that could be on D2C. So we have a huge opportunity to drive impact across the entire funnel, no matter where the checkout happens.
For the brands that have not yet had a D2C focus, how do you determine when those brands are ripe for D2C innovation?
A lot of times people forget with D2C or anything, it takes a lot of work, right? It's not just easy just to stand up a site. That's the easy part. But the hard part is after that, right? And if we don't have the time and effort and resources to put against it, then we need to prioritize or rethink where it falls in line and what makes the most sense.
Well, that's a really interesting perspective. Let's now talk about data. We keep hearing this term, the cookieless future, and it has become very obvious that first party data is going to be essential for brands to engage with their customers once cookies go away. How is Clorox using customer data to better understand the purchase journey?
You're right, Marissa. Without cookies now and device ID being less relevant, you need to have a first party data. But it's important to know that first party data isn't all created equal, right? You have first party data like email subs for content or for recipes. Like that's good data, but it's not as rich, right? And those are like most likely the folks who are going to churn or unsubscribe. But we use Segment as our CDP, and they're a wonderful partner, and they help us track all the data, all the behaviors on site, and then they flow it down to our data warehouse, which is Snowflake. And then my data science team, decision science team will go in there and do modeling based on that raw data. Clorox also has a lot of first party data, as I mentioned, with email subs. So we're trying to figure out, obviously legally, right? Because there's a lot of privacy laws when you can mix and match databases and then when you can't. So how do we take all the data we're learning, sometimes to combine, sometimes individually, and then find the themes, and then whether it's to cross sell someone into a portfolio, to your point, whether it's to drive them to purchase offline, drive them to a third party ecom or to D2C. It's not always about driving to D2C, by the way. It's about what's best for the consumer in that funnel and that choice.
Clorox recently launched its own D2C brand called Objective Wellness. How is this brand strategically positioned in such a crowded space?
It's not about, is objective going to be the next big thing? It's like, does objective serve a purpose for our consumers? And is a very good alternative solution to all the other brands that are just confusing you and overwhelming you with information and misinformation. And internally, is it a strategic brand or platform for us to learn from so we can scale up in other areas and other categories? And that's one of the best use cases, I think, of a startup kind of mindset in a big CPG. So to launch a brand and maybe launch two or three over the next 5, 6 years, and maybe one or two of them become huge, but You're always testing and learning with that brand.
Well, of those channels that you've tested, which one has been most effective to drive brand awareness?
Instagram is still great for down funnel and top of the funnel. I mean, TikTok we're still playing around in, and not sure what that would look like in about 6 months. I mean, the numbers are insane in terms of visitors and repeat visitors and time spent, but it's hard to compete with Facebook. YouTube and Google still serve very important roles. I mean, Google especially, right? When you're down funnel, you want to search a category, search a topic or a brand. Nothing's more important than Google. Maybe Amazon too, right? I think Amazon is, I think, past them for a little bit in terms of searches.
Jackson, let's do a lightning round to close today. In 30 seconds, tell me 3 things that we can expect to see from D2C at Clorox in 2022.
More brands on D2C, a lot more testing and learning with new products and services, a lot more integration between D2C and e-com and the retail stores. So those are probably the top three priorities, I would say.
We can't wait to see all that's next for Clorox. Jackson, thank you so much for being with us today, for sharing these
Thank you,
stories,
Marissa.
and for being an inspiration. It was great to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate the time.
And thanks to all of you for tuning into Industry Voices. We'll see you soon.
This is Mountain. This is your brand on Mountain. Any questions? Yes, you probably have a ton. This is a pretty blind opening. Anyway, Mountain is one of the fastest growing connected TV platforms, and they just merged with Maximum Effort, the creative marketing company owned by this guy. No, this guy. That's why the mountain volcano metaphor kind of works. It's great tech, and it's great creative in one place. Visit mountain.com for more details. Don't worry, there's no lava.